So the three hormones, we're just going to jump right in. We've got insulin, cortisol, and estrogen. And so we want to focus on improving these, really optimizing these. This is going to help you stay leaner as you get older. And as you start to see some of these things, there are things that a lot of you are already doing. And you might notice as we move through the slides, oh, that makes sense. I used to experience this and now it's not as bad or it's gone or things like that. And it really wanted to serve sort of as a little bit of a wake-up call as to how important exercise and eating is for not only how you look, but how you feel. So think about those things as we move through the slides and really like, oh, I used to feel this way, but now I feel this way. Because a lot of times you just don't realize things have happened until time has passed. So we're going to start with insulin. So insulin, for the sake of not getting too technical, it's a hormone that's produced by your pancreas. So the job is for it to move sugar where it's supposed to go, glucose, right? And the whole point of it is to assist you with energy. So you'll notice sometimes some people are pretty sensitive. I know we have a couple diabetics this round, which is interesting because we don't get a ton of diabetics. And now we have two at once, which I'm like, I love. I think it's fantastic because this is a super helpful program to help you get dialed in. But if your insulin is too high, losing fat is going to be very, very difficult. Okay. We see it time and time again. And one of the biggest culprits I've noticed is that snacking, incessant snacking, and honestly, snacking on high palatable, sugary processed foods tend to be a problem. Now, obviously, you guys could read here, insulin's job is going to help your muscles stay strong, but it moves amino acids through your body, which is something that a lot of people don't realize because we focus so heavily on protein because protein's the magical macro. But the other things you have to consider when you're wanting to stay lean is that insulin plays a huge factor as well. So some of the things you guys are probably already doing to make sure insulin stays balanced as you age is you're eating more protein, you're eating healthier fats. We obviously advocate for all that. Vegetables, fiber is another great one. This is going to help keep your blood sugar steady, which is what you want. Now, strength training is going to come up in a lot of these slides, not because I think it's the bee's knees, but it's just facts. Okay. But with insulin, strength training helps you be more efficient at regulating your glucose and your insulin. So that is why you want to continue doing it as you age, especially if you have like family history. You have people who have diabetes. Who was I talking to? I can't remember. Oh, I think it was an interview I did with Dr. Sarah Doyle. And she was saying, I was telling her, diabetes is very prevalent in my family. I have a family history of diabetes, like my grandfather, my dad, she's going on and on. And I said, I have a fear of that too, because I just had some blood markers come back and my hemoglobin AC was 1 point elevated. But to me, like, that's not okay. Right. And she said to me, well, your risk of diabetes for type 2 is that's not hereditary. So if it was type 1, yes, but type 2 is lifestyle and diet related. But a lot of times we repeat the lifestyle behavior patterns that our parents did. And so that's why we tend to think it's, oh, my parents had diabetes, so I'm going to have diabetes, right? We just don't change our food habits, but you guys are doing that. So we want to stay on track with that. And then lastly is eating every 4 to 5 hours. Again, not because it totes some magic, in terms of fat loss, but it really is going to help you regulate your insulin a lot better. And that's super important for fat loss, muscle gain, and honestly, even recovery too. Anything else you guys want to add to this or questions? If they come up, please post them in the chat.
No, I think you covered it. I think insulin is definitely one of the important ones,
yes.
Especially when you are working out. I guess one thing I will say is that insulin does play a big role, particularly post-workout, which is why we talk about your post-workout meal. It's important to make sure that you eat the right foods because you want to make sure you get the carbs to your muscles after you have worked out. And a lot of you guys might see or might have seen that I typically eat my protein ice cream with cereal as my post workout. And the reason I do this is because after you work out, that is like the one time where your body is like absorbing a lot of the carbs and the sugars. And so eating simple carbs after your workout will very quickly give you an insulin spike, but it's an insulin spike that is going to get all of that to your muscles, if it makes sense. It's not to say that post workout is the only time you can eat simple carbs, but if you want to optimize the use of simple carbs in your body, post workout is the best time to eat them. Now, granted, an hour later, you're going to be hungry because they're simple carbs and you just worked out and your body is sucking that up. And so you're going to be hungry an hour later. So be prepared for that. But it is probably one of the better times to have simple carbs if you're going to eat them. And I tell my clients that because if you're struggling with getting really snacky, fit them into your macros, fit them into your post workout so that you are satisfying that sweet tooth, but you're using them to optimize your muscle building as well. Hopefully that makes sense. If you guys have further questions on that, we can talk about that maybe in another session, like post workout, pre and post workout meals. I think that would be a great topic as well. But insulin definitely plays a big role in that. And it's actually, unless you're diabetic, for sure, for everyone else, it is actually a positive insulin spike because you're provoking it, but you're using it to fuel your muscles.
Yeah. And you'll see a lot of bodybuilders eat like Rice Krispie treats after a workout, or that's when they have like just that's when they typically will put in their fun foods, their flexible foods. Yeah. And it's intentional, and it's because they oftentimes know that like right after a hard weight training session is the best time for you to have some quick acting carbs like that. So yeah. But just to kind of recap the mistakes that we see, because insulin contributes so much to fat gain when there's consistently too much sugar and processed carbs in your diet, is we want to eliminate that stuff, right? Or we want to at least cut it way, way back, which is, you know, I know a lot of you guys are already doing. So too much sugar is detrimental for your health, honestly. But again, if we're talking vanity reasons, that is a lot of the culprit as well. Sodas, I mean, you see on here, ice creams, cakes, all the fun stuff. Listen, I love this shit too. I just don't eat it every day. That's all we're telling you. Don't eat this crap every day. Like, let it be 10% of your diet, not 70% or 80 or 90%, right? Then the other thing is skipping meals, which, you know, we talk often about. Like fasting has been, you know, now more research is coming out about how fasting is actually not great for women, and it impacts their hormones much more dramatically than it does our male counterparts. So skipping meals, we want to get in food right when you wake up, and then every 3 to 4 hours, get some more food in. So you're constantly keeping your insulin levels nice and stable, and you're not getting these big dips and valleys, right? Or peaks and valleys. Skipping meals, the cravings are on a whole nother level. Oftentimes when you skip meals too often, I am guilty of this a lot of times because I just start working and then I don't want to get pulled away from my desk. And then I realize at nighttime, I'm a freaking eat beast. Like I just can't stop eating. I have a hollow leg and everything just keeps getting shoved in it. Right. So you got to address it earlier in the day. And I always know when I'm feeling that way, I did not eat, you know, every few hours. And then the other mistake is when women avoid strength training altogether, because the more muscle you have, the more metabolically active you are, the better your metabolism is, and you're able to handle things like occasional treats and things like that, because you have more muscle than you do body fat. And so a lot of times the strength training piece of it is just overlooked, but it's very, very important in terms of helping with regulating insulin and keeping your body fat low. Okay, next one that gets a bad rap is cortisol. I said, bitch, chill out. We all need to chill out a little bit more. Easier said than done. I'm a work in progress. It's getting a lot better, but cortisol is a stress hormone. So this one is made by your adrenal glands. We hear about the adrenals a lot of time, adrenal fatigue, you know, all these things on top of your kidneys, these tiny little glands. And cortisol is oftentimes referred to as the stress hormone because when you're overly stressed, your body then releases it, right? It's supposed to help kind of keep your body regulated. So you're not in this heightened state all the time because it's not ideal to be in that state. So we want to keep that nice and balanced. And some ways to do that are obviously stress reducing things. And this could be different for everybody, right? So yoga, meditation, deep breathing, walking outside, reading, talking to a loved one, doing things that bring your cortisol down to combat the other times of the day when maybe your cortisol is getting hit often, right? Stress at work, the commute, your kids piss you off, the dog shits on the carpet, like all these things, they seem like little trivial things, but they're just like little hits to your cortisol over time. And when you're just dealing with that all day and like the stress reducing stuff is not balancing out, then you're living in this heightened state of increased cortisol, which then leads to, deposits in belly fat, which we'll talk about in the next slide. So another thing is obviously sleep, right? We're in the sleep challenge right now, and really getting on top of your sleep, getting good sleep habits, and prioritizing that because it's really important. In fact, I just I watched a podcast, I think it was on YouTube, and I can't remember the doctor's name, but he was talking about how women actually need way more sleep than men. And he was saying, ideally, hold on to your panties, 9 to 10 hours a night women should be getting. And I was like, I know everyone's snickering, right? And I immediately got angry and I turned off the TV. I was like, I'm not listening anymore. Like I feel attacked. I can only get like I'm maxing at 7 right now. But it is incredibly important. The longer that you sleep, the less hours you have awake to be constantly pinged and pulled at with cortisol and getting that going through the roof, right? And then the last one is something that we actually do see from time to time is women who overdo exercise. So we want you not doing that, right? Not overdoing it. Find some balance. We give you 5, 6 weight training workouts. Don't feel like a failure if you're not doing those. This is to give you a little bit of variety if you need it, or switch some things out. Or those of you that are more advanced and you can get in the gym and your body can handle that. But if it can't, then you slice that in half and then you add in some other restorative type activities that may feel like you're not doing anything to burn calories, but it's actually serving a greater good in the long run.
Yeah. Yeah. And one more thing I would add to this, to make sure you're keeping your cortisol levels in check, is when you wake up in the morning, don't reach for the coffee first. I always say hydrate before you caffeinate, always, because when you wake up, that is when naturally your body has the highest levels of cortisol. Caffeine elevates your levels of cortisol as well. So if you're already high and now you're adding caffeine, you're spiking your cortisol levels up more than they need to be first thing in the morning. So always drink water, have breakfast. Try not to have coffee on an empty stomach. If you're going to have it, make sure you've had water, have it with food. I don't just mean with a banana or with a pastry from Starbucks. I mean with your full-on breakfast. So water first, then coffee. And when you do have coffee, make sure you have it with food, not by itself, at least in the morning, so that you make sure you're keeping your cortisol levels balanced. Yes. It's an easy change. It's a really easy change that will make a world of a difference.
I +1 to that one. I listened to a podcast with Dr. Andrew Huberman and Dr. Stacy Sims, and I then went on a path and I started watching every interview I could find on her and really just researching her methods
It's
and
great.
Yeah. And one of the things that she talks about exhaustively is this point, to Denise's point. And so this is about 3 months ago. And so I stopped making that the first thing in the morning because I know better anyways, but it's just habit, just coffee, pour the lava down my throat, please. And so I switched this. So I don't have my first cup of coffee until about 30 minutes to an hour after I wake up. And my first thing that I ingest is like a whole concoction that I make to make sure that I am prioritizing some other nutrients and things and not just dumping in caffeine and jacking up my cortisol right from the go. So
Yeah.
with this, it is important, and also these things as well, because when it's too high for too long, it can cause several problems. And the biggest one is typically belly fat gain. And it doesn't matter. Even if you're eating the same amounts of foods, it will cause this issue. And that's when we hear women that are like, I'm doing all the things, it's not working. It's not working. And we're like, hi, are you managing these other things in your life? Like the stuff that's stressing you the F out? Because if you're not, no diet in the world is ever going to work, because you're just living at this, your check engine lights are on. So again, staying stressed all the time, not taking breaks, not relaxing, not building that in, not sleeping enough, which makes your cortisol kind of live at this perpetually high level, and then doing too much cardio or working out too hard without enough rest, right? I've seen this on some clients who they'll want to be working out 6 days a week. I had one lady, in fact, from Texas, love her dearly, Carrie, and we switched everything around, and she, like, life completely changed, because she was getting anywhere from 4 to maybe 5 hours of sleep and 20,000 steps a day. And she was in the gym 6 days a week, and she was lifting all 6 of those days. And she was a hot mess express. Injuries everywhere, cortisol through the roof, just hormones a mess. And we scaled everything back, much to her dismay, because she freaked out and thought she was going to gain weight. And we were able to actually get her on stage, looking fantastic. So those are the key things, is just really knowing is very important.
Yeah,
All right.
I just wanted to add a little bit
Mm-hmm.
to what you just
Please.
said, because so many times we don't realize, guys, that when you have stress in your life and life is just getting lifey. I mean, I had a client, the same thing. She wasn't a competitor. She was, like the rest of us, just normal person trying to lose weight. And she had so much going on in her life with work and just really stressed and not getting enough sleep. And it was stress that sometimes you can't control it because it's something going on at work or something like that. And so what I always say is, you guys have heard me say it before, control what you can, make better choices for the things that you can't control. And what we sometimes don't realize is that exercise is a form of stress. Yes, it's a good stress, and yes, it's a stress reliever, but you are essentially putting stress on your muscles and on your body because you're challenging your body. And the body doesn't distinguish between good stress and bad stress. She just knows I'm stressed AF, right? So what we can control is how much exercise we do or don't do, how much cardio we do or don't do. Maybe you can't control what's going on at work, what's happening with the kids, maybe it's a relationship, but you can control that. So when your coach tells you, okay, you're working out 6 days, we need to bring that down to 4 days. Don't freak out, it's for a reason. I did exactly that. And I said, we need to drop your lifting to 4 days. She freaked out, just like Diane said, no way, like this is my stress reliever. And I'm like, I get it, but just hear me out. And I explained why. 2 weeks she did it and lost 3 pounds. She lost 3 pounds in those 2 weeks because her body was so tense and stressed out that she was holding on and retaining water, and she was tired. Because when we say recover, it's not just sleep, it's recovering from letting your body not be so stressed with the workouts. So there's such a thing as overtraining, and it isn't always just working out 6 days a week. It could be working out 5 days a week. And we need to drop you down to 3 if your workouts are really intense. So as coaches, we look for these signs, but also, be aware of those signs for yourself. And if you're finding yourself super, super stressed, give yourself some grace and give yourself a couple of rest days and watch what your body does, because recovery can come in different forms, not just sleeping, but also from just not working out as much. Doesn't mean take a month off. It just means, for a couple of weeks, come down to 3 days instead of 5 and see what happens. And you'll probably find that you'll get back into the gym and feel even stronger and see bigger gains. So definitely something to look out for. If you don't have a coach, something to watch out for yourself.
Yes, most definitely. We can all use a little less cortisol, most of us at this point in our lives. All right, we're moving on to the big Mac Daddy of the three, which is going to be estrogen. I have several slides on this, so hopefully y'all aren't falling asleep. Are you still here with me? Everybody raise your hand. let's raise the roof. We're talking about hormones. Is so exciting. All right. So estrogen, obviously reproductive health, but also maintains your bones. It affects fat distribution. All right. Say it louder for those in the back. It affects fat distribution. Basically, it dictates where your fat's going to go. Supports your skin, your hair, all that fun stuff, heart health. And one of the things that we tend to forget is as we age, it changes. So we're going to go over that. That's going to be in a slide coming up. But some things to really help improve your estrogen balance are adding things like flax seeds and beans. Fiber also helps too, to help balance hormones. This is just kind of some natural things. Look what appeared again, resistance training, right? So weight training, so keeping your muscles strong, all comes back down to metabolism and our efficiency to actually burn fat and keep our hormones balanced and regulated. And then the last thing is my suggestion is if you are struggling with anything we're going to talk about in the next few slides, Denise and Alicia are probably here to back me up in saying this, that good luck when you go to your regular doctor getting any problem solved. Unless you have a fantastic doctor who is actually very well versed in hormones, they don't tend to spend a lot of time specializing in it if it's just primary care, and they will usually want to just slap a band-aid on it and tell you you're imagining things. It's incredibly frustrating. So I usually turn towards integrative medicine, preventative medicine, and I have a whole purse full of people I could recommend you to that have been fantastic for our clients. And I usually recommend them based on each client's personality. I know that sounds silly, but like I know all of these people pretty well. And I know, okay, this doctor would go well with your personality because you're not an athlete, right? If you're an athlete, you should probably go with this one. So you get the idea. All right, some mistakes are very similar to just mistakes with fat loss in general, but more particularly with estrogen. So too much junk food, getting back to whole foods is super important. Women who avoid weightlifting altogether and they just want to do all the cardio things actually does the opposite for us in terms of balancing and helping estrogen. And then ignoring hormone changes and just not actually taking the next steps to do something about it. And I know that sounds really dickish, but we deal with a lot of nutrition clients. I think we've probably had 300 this year, if I had to guess, like working between group and one-on-one with the team. And we speak, I talk to each of the coaches and we talk about how clients are doing. And I will look over certain clients' cases and their stuff. And I'm like, she needs to get her hormones checked. And it's like in one ear and out the other. And I will oftentimes say, I'm going to pause your coaching so you can afford to go to an integrative doctor because you're wasting your money with me. I've done that to at least 10 clients in the last probably 5 years. Because there is a point where like everything looks great on paper, right? They're doing all the things, they're checking all the boxes, and they're coming to me like it's my fault. And I'm like, I can't see what's happening inside. So we got to take that next step. And a lot of times primary care just doesn't want to deal with any of that. So just as a closer look, when estrogen is too high, so you have estrogen, what they call estrogen dominance. We don't want that either, right? You have excessive weight gain. In this particularly manifests as around the hips and thighs when we see women who, say, oh, I'm pear-shaped or whatever. That is typically what we notice is there is an estrogen dominance once they actually go and get blood work done. Mood swings, which I think can go both ways, honestly, in menopause and also estrogen dominance. Bloating, breast tenderness, regular periods, and some of the causes are just excess body fat, right? Your hormones don't know what to do with that. So this is another thing that once you start to drop body fat, you may have noticed if these things were a problem for you, that they've probably gotten a little bit better. So this is another thing to think about when it comes to where you are on, sort of the spectrum with your estrogen, if you haven't actually had it looked at. And then this is one that I hear most about, most about, I think we do, is because most of our women are either perimenopausal or going through menopause when estrogen is too low. And this can also get right up in there with the cortisol in terms of belly fat gain, and bone loss is another one, which is really huge as we start to move towards our later years in life. But guess what? Another one of the secrets for keeping your bones is weight training. Keeping your bones. So, like you've had grandparents or great grandparents that fall and they break a hip and then they're in the hospital because they have to have surgery and then they get pneumonia. Like I worked for a doctor in infectious disease and I saw it like clockwork. You could just see it right with the elderly on a certain floor. So super important. Weight training is going to help with that. The good old hot flashes. Anyone else wake up completely drenched and have to change their clothes? If you haven't, it's coming for you. Hopefully not, but let's hope that we're getting ahead of it. But common symptom. And then you have the typical mood changes, vaginal dryness, because your hormones are, again, they're fluctuating. So that can also be an issue. And again, this is something that this comes with age, right? So menopause, obviously certain medical conditions. And then we sometimes see a lot of this in women who have been competing for too long. I have experienced some of these things just competing for too long. Denise is like, me too. So that's also something that comes up. I think that's it I have on that one. Oh, Mary says, just finishing up your podcast 217 about hormones. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Okay. That was it. We whipped through that. Let's see. Last one or last two I have is, hormones are not the fun, sexy thing to talk about. But if you had to guess where you could make some small improvements to bring your hormones, at a more optimal level, where do you feel out of these little areas you could make some changes? Mine is sleep. Mine is definitely sleep. Oh, Lisa says she's going to Joanne to ask for testing HRT. I will wish you luck. Godspeed, my friend. Yes, absolutely. I think I have a list somewhere. I feel like I posted on Instagram for somebody and I kept it somewhere of what I suggest you ask your doctor to test you for. And they'll probably look at you like you grew a second head on your shoulders. But as a human who has insurance and is seeking medical care, you are absolutely have every right to ask for certain tests to be drawn. Just know that you might have an out-of-pocket expense for that, but it doesn't hurt to try, right? It doesn't hurt to go in and try. Oh, I didn't even know Lee snuck in here. Okay, lower stress levels and stop being so snacky. How do we stop snacking? Alicia, tell us. Eat more spinach.
Stay out the kitchen. Eat whole meals with protein instead of a snack when you go to reach for a snack. Why not just have a meal? And it's like if your trail mix, okay, your 300 calories of trail mix, you could have had protein and maybe some carbs that are going to fill you up so much more. Yeah. Eat something instead.
Yeah. Snacks are so delicious. Like I am a whore.
You are
snacks. I'm a whore for snacks. I'm not even gonna lie. But I have gotten so much better. And typically, like my rationalization with it is I can't have that snack thing unless I am pretty certain I've eaten enough protein for the day. And it's usually no. It's usually I have not eaten enough protein for the day. So I will typically add something to the snack, a protein shake, a protein bar, a Greek yogurt, something. And it just tends to balance things out. So Mary, you're a snacker too. I know I love snacks, but it is the worst for killing your body progress, body goals, and a lot of these things we're talking about today for sure.
One of the tips that I give, and probably some of my clients, my one-on-one clients that are in here can attest to this, is what I always tell them is, if you feel like you're going to reach for a snack or you're getting kind of snacky, ask yourself, could I eat my next? If you're hungry, then eat your next meal. If you feel resistance to that and you're like, I don't want to eat my next meal, then you're probably not hungry and you're just emotionally snacking, or, you're just bored or something. But if you're actually hungry, you're going to eat your next meal. And if you are hungry, then go eat your next meal. And like Alicia said, it's better to eat a balanced meal, eat your whole meal. But if you put that thought into your head, could I eat my next meal? And it's like, I don't feel like eating my next meal, then you're not really hungry and you need to walk away from the snack friend. So that's just kind of a self-check. Like, could I eat my next meal right now? And then just, be honest with yourself. If it's no, then walk away. Don't snack. Don't fall for the snack.
Don't fall in the snack trap. I'm
Fall
looking to see if I can find that list, Lisa. Sorry, I'm not like on my phone texting, I promise.
I have a list as well. I've posted it in the Facebook group a couple of times when I recently went and did it, so I can look as well. It's
Okay.
it's like the hormone panel.
Yes.
Yeah, I have one. I have it as well. So I know I've shared it in the Facebook group. So if everybody here is in the Facebook group, I can repost it in there.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
I'll do that.
Otherwise, I know I have a lab slip somewhere because I usually go every 6 months. I think it's in one of my file folders, and I can just honestly, I don't mind taking a picture of it.
That's exactly what I did. That's
Yeah.
exactly what I did. Is I took.
But
a
you're
picture
gonna be like,
and posted it.
because every time I go, they're like, "Oh, you're gonna be here a minute." I'm like, "Yep, 13 vials is usually what we end up with, 11 to 13, somewhere in there." But I mean, let me tell you, it gives you so much data, and that's why it's important, because you can't fix what you can't see. And so when you have data plain as day staring you in the face, and it's like, okay, your progesterone is shit, your thyroid's a mess, like your cortisol's too high, your liver enzymes are a wreck, like these are all things that are highly likely. And then you just need to add in a couple supplements to kind of help work through that, and it will save you so much money in the end, in missing days at work, being, insurance, medications, and all these things, quality of life. So that's why I'm like such a huge advocate for just doing as much as you can without having to be going through, pills with like tons of side effects and shit. Okay. All right, last one, but we're here to hang out with you. We're almost on week 12, you guys. Next week, I know you guys got an email. Kristen, I'm not ignoring you. I saw that this morning. Is she still here? I can't see everybody. And had asked about continuing. So you should have got an email with some more info. I know you guys aren't done yet, so don't feel like you need to sign up now, because it'll start your new membership right now, but it'll be ready for you if you want to continue. And if you're not sure, you still have questions, we can help you figure out your next steps. I always tell people, even if like your next step isn't with us, there's been times where I've said, hey, if it's not working out, like I've got this friend or this colleague, or I know I have someone who does at-home workouts that are live, like in person. And if that's your jam and you don't like going to the gym, let me steer you to Holly. Or if you're like over 50 and 60 and you feel like you need a tribe, I've got Jen. So I have other resources, and it's not just about us. We want you to find what works for you. So just keep that in mind, moving forward. So yeah, good shit. Good stuff. Lisette, yes, ma'am.
So I just, in case anyone has any questions or anything about the monthly program, I am on that. Like I said, it's been really helpful to me, not lately, that's my own personal problem and nothing to do with the program. But I did the 12-week program, and then it ended, and I was like, well, I already know, what I need to be doing, so I'm just going to continue this. But not having those reminders on the app is like, that made a huge difference, because then I stopped, and I stopped for like 2 weeks, and I'm like, okay, obviously doing this without reminders and tracking and all that isn't working for me. So then I signed up for the monthly one. It's been really helpful for me. So if anyone has questions on it, happy to help.
Yeah, and you've been doing great in terms of when you started. It was awesome, honestly, like just giving you a shout out, because when you did the second round, I want to say April, I say you did maybe, right? Yeah. Yeah. And it was rocky at first. Remember, it was like the gym was new, kind of like some of the stuff we were having you do, you weren't familiar with. There was a lot of training audits that were going on.
Yeah.
And then now it's more just like building in the consistency, but you rolled into Boss Bitch Body VIP so you could continue jumping in here and doing all those things. And then, when Goddess Body starts getting in January, you might just be like, all right, I need to get like more focused or whatever, and change your focus, honestly, too, sometimes.
Yeah.
So
I'm all for it.
Thank you for that.
Yay.
Oh, Denise found it. She posted it in the chat. Oh, no, just kidding. Send it to me.
I
Wait,
did.
yeah,
No, I
to everybody.
by accident, but I did send it to everyone. I just posted that's the panel.
Okay.
I posted it in the Facebook group. So
okay, cool.
guys, if you miss it in here, it's also in the Facebook group.
Mm-hmm. I'm just
and then
reading.
obviously if there's anything else that you get in there you need to add.
Yeah. T3, yep, TSH. I would probably add cortisol on there. And I mean they're checking female hormones and all that fun stuff. So that's a good jumping off point for sure.
What I always add for me personally is iron. Just because I have a history of low iron, and also as women who lift, we tend to lose iron more quickly than women who do not lift. So checking your iron is also pretty important. I usually have to add that one because that's not really a hormone panel.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, when I did this one, I called back and I said, can you add iron? And a lot of times, as long as it's within 2 or 3 days of the time they drew blood, they can add things and add it to the same blood that's already been drawn. And that's why you don't see it on here, but I did add iron. That's something I always do.
Mm-hmm.
Cortisol,
Yeah,
vitamin
that's a good one.
Vitamin D. Yeah, totally agree with that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just good info to have. It was a game changer, when I finally started paying attention to that stuff. It's just eye-opening. And it's crazy because a lot of it can be, I don't want to say resolved, but it can be pretty close to resolved with your diet, honestly.
Yep.
And your lifestyle factors and exercise, but mainly what you're eating and what you're not eating, so it's good stuff. You guys are doing good. We're almost done. I can't believe it's already been 12 weeks. That's nuts. We got Thanksgiving on the horizon, Christmas. Oh boy. Do you guys want any cool, like fit things for Christmas? I usually do a podcast or a something that I'm like, oh, these are the things I've been using this year, kind of fit girl Christmas list to send to your secret Santa. No one's looking to anything particular. Well, if you don't have a walking pad, I really like mine. It's been pretty cool for meetings and such. And when it's cold outside.
I ordered one it arrived right before I left. And so it's in a box at home still. So
it's waiting for you. It's
waiting for me. I can't wait. And I got a stand-up desk as well. Like just a small little desk so that I can stand and put the walking pad under it, because there's no use in sitting and having the walking pad, right? So I'm looking forward to doing that. That's awesome.
Yeah. Well, it's a game changer, I feel like. Because literally I could go all day and by the end of the day, I'll have 3,000 steps if I'm lucky.
So Lisa's asking, what kind do you have? What kind of walking pad do you have?
Mine I got it on Amazon Prime Day, and it's called an Act Flame. It's, I don't know, some off brand, but I think I paid like $169, but I was like researching it for weeks, because that's how I get, if I want something, I need to like do all the research, right? And I chose this one particularly because it was one of the only walking pads I could find that had an incline. So
yeah, I did the same.
Did you do the same thing? That's hilarious. We're literally the same person.
I was waiting for you to say it. I was like, is she really going to say it?
Yeah. But it's like a little, you just like flip it, and it's not like a motorized one, but you can set it up and it's really easy. And it has a remote. It's great. Act Flame, ACTFLAME on Amazon. And I got the white one. It's just like white around the edges, but it's good shit. Lisa, did your sister not end up doing the program? Like, you came because your sister sent you the podcast, right? But your sister didn't sign up.
No, she didn't do it.
That's hilarious to me. I love it. That's
She
too
might do it
funny.
in the future. She's very fit already, but
Yeah.
she's always looking to improve.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
That's awesome. Well, I'm glad you're here.
me too.
Mary, what shoes do you use? Oh, this could be a whole video. This could be a whole podcast. Okay, so it depends. For if I'm doing lower body leg days, I like to have the flattest shoe possible. So something like Converse, Vans, my Nike, like my Dunks or my Jordans, just yeah, like Denise has got, what are those, Vibrams? Oh, you're muted, babe. Another one is Innovates, are another great one. Oh, still can't hear you. Or can you guys hear her? I can't hear her. No, can't hear her. But yeah, something with a flat sole, Mary, for weight training. Was that what you were wanting for weight training or cross training? Okay. To say cardio, that's a whole nother story, but Vivo barefoot. Yes. So you want a real minimalistic shoe, just because you want to be as close to ground zero as possible. So you're stable in all your movements, even on machines too. We see clients come in with the Hokas or Hokas or whatever the hell those shoes are called, the ugliest shoes on the planet. If you have a pair, I'm not judging because I'm about to buy me some because I think I want to jog, but I don't know yet. I just want to have the shoes in case I decide I want to do some jogging.
You know what? I actually went to Fleet Feet yesterday because my cardio shoes are just like tanking at this point in prep, And I got some Brooks and they are
There you go.
fantastic.
Those are
Only
another
for cardio though, not for lifting.
Yeah. You hate Hokas for running. Yeah, they're like the ugliest shoes I've ever seen. They're ugliest tennis shoes. But they serve a purpose. They're great for marathons. They're all the things. But yeah, I don't know that I could do it. They feel like boats. That makes sense. It does make sense. But Brooks are also great. My mom, she came and I took her to the gym and we worked out and stuff. And she was so cute because she couldn't figure out what brand her shoes were. I think she got them at Kohl's or something. I don't know, maybe. And we figured out they were Brooks. And so she was like, I love these. They're really great for walking and jogging, high impact stuff, but not the greatest for weight training, unfortunately, because they're comfy. Yeah. Well, you guys are beautiful.
I like these. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
My AirPods keep connecting. I like the ones that I have for lifting because they have a wide toe box. And I have found, like, I used to use Converse and, the flat shoes, and those work great for people, Vans, for the flat feet. But for me, for some reason, the wide toe box really helps me a lot more. And these Vivo Barefoot, I mean, they're amazing. They're not $20, so they're an investment. They're also not $500. I think they're about $100 or so, like maybe $110. But I bought one pair, loved them, and then bought another. So I have a black pair and a white pair because you got to match, right? So, but you want to look cute too, right? But
depends on the outfit.
Yeah, exactly. But I wear them. I mean, on lifting days, I will always wear them for leg days. Leg lifting days, I will wear them because they do make a huge difference. And I find now, like, I've gone to the gym with other shoes thinking it was a leg day, and then I get there and I'm like, oh shoot, it's an upper body day. Yeah. And I have like barefoot phobia. I do not ever go barefoot, but I will take my shoes off because now I'm used to the way my foot feels with these shoes that I can't lift. I can't. If I have the cushion, I feel like wobbly and I don't have enough stability, and it's a huge difference. So it's a game changer. If you don't have flat shoes, take your shoes off. Take them off. It's a world of a difference, but definitely good to invest in a pair of flat shoes. And if you can do the wide toe shoe, that's what I would recommend. It just helps, especially like when you're on leg presses, because your toes can spread out and you can push more. You don't feel like your toes are like this. At least that's how I felt. My toes were like smushed. So definitely I would recommend investing in a pair of wide toe. They're not the cutest shoe. I felt like a clown when I first got them.
Yeah. Alicia, we should all honestly steal Alicia's lifting shoes because she gets these like what there's like there's no brand to them, right? They're like wrestling shoes on Amazon or something. They're so freaking cute. So cute.
Yeah, they're like a mid top, high top. I just look up wrestling shoes and they're very inexpensive. They don't last a whole long time, but they're so cute.
Mhm.
Cool.
The toe box is super wide. It's a little bit wider for me than I would like, but yeah, it's like super flat soled.
They're very cute. Very cute. All righty. Well, and anything else? Anybody have some troubles they want us to try to solve? I mean, we could solve the world's problems, I think, with all of us here. All of us, all of you, all of
And
us.
Lee says, do you guys have a brand you like for home gym equipment in research phase for a new home gym?
I just put in there Body Masters is my favorite.
Body Masters, okay.
Body Masters is just, I like it. We have a few pieces at the studio because they, like, I would love to say Arsenal, but I don't want to say that because I have Arsenal equipment at the studio and it's really not female friendly. I don't feel like it's made for like big giant bodybuilding men. And it's kind of the same at the Dragon's Lair, unfortunately, with some of the machines, but Body Masters is like across the board over the years been like the best, I feel.
I think Rogue is a good one too.
Rogue's not bad, yeah. Rogue's not bad. Yep. All right, who still needs to go to the gym today? Raise your hand. Denise, you went already?
I went at 5 a.m. I went at 5
a.m.
I'm going at 5. Well, I'm on the East Coast, so when I go at 5 a.m. here,
yeah,
it works. By the time I get back home, you know, it's like
it's not going to be the
day.
same.
It's a long day for
It's
me.
not going to be the same. Yeah. No, I still need to go. It's booty day every day, but you know, today for sure.
It was booty day today.
Lisette, you still have to go? Okay.
Yes. Still have to go. I'm getting back on track. Back on track. Was off track.
Mary's done. Denise is done. All right. Well, I'm just hold me accountable to going. All right. Because I'm so sore from that stupid hike. It was not stupid. It was great. But I'm sore AF. My calves feel terrible. So bad.
Oh my gosh.
Maureen's going tonight. Okay. All right. I'll do it then. Just because you guys. All right, you guys, go eat some lunch, regulate your insulin, bring your stress down, and take care of your hormones. I love you. I'll see you next week.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.